Good morning, Pat. Hi, Vesta. How are you? I am just checking to see that everything is working properly so that I can read your comments now. Hey, Tammy. Good morning. Hi, Sheila. Thank you for popping in. This is going to be a fun project this morning. Hi, Tony. Thank you for sharing. Hi, Janelle. All righty. Happy Thursday morning. Sun is shining, but it's cold here. Just let a few more hop on. Just a few quick announcements, and then we're going to jump into the project, okay? I had posted yesterday, and I think it was, hi, Gloria. Nice to meet you. 10 here, like 10 degrees, Vesta. Oh, my goodness. Hi, Kathy. We're in the 40s, and I was saying it's cold. I can't imagine 10. Oh, Pat, 15 degrees. Good morning, Sharon. Whew, so cold. I don't know if I'm ready for those temperatures yet. Okay, so it was very early in the morning, Wednesday, that I had posted the directions and had some picture images there to putting your 2 patchwork squares together, okay? And then yesterday I shared the other pieces that we're going to need for today. 60 degrees. Tony, 60 degrees where you're at today? You're not that far from me. We were 62 degrees early yesterday morning. So my husband and I got out and we got all the leaves raked and put to the curb for leaf pickup. But today, early this morning, it was down in the 40s, and it just felt so cold. Okay. Everything looks good. Hi, Vicki. Okay, so a few quick announcements. Today's the last day of Stampin' Up! Seasonal sale. These items are from the annual catalog only, so all the dies are 20% off. Individual ink pads are 15% off, and cardstock is 10% off. So that this evening, sometime Mountain Time, the sale will end. It goes pretty late. So if there's anything you're needing to replenish in your stash, this is a very good sale. And then, November Barn Quilt card kits had already been sent out, and the other night, I believe on Tuesday, I had sent the email, the PDF through email. So go back and look at your email if you're waiting on the PDF, and you should be getting your card kits in the mail. Hi, Patricia. Debbie, good morning. Okay, I'm not really gonna spend too much time on the business side of things. I want to get you creating this really adorable card, and once I flip the camera over, I will show you my inspiration and give credit where credit is due, and then we will get going. So, okay, so this is always a thing for me. We've got to flip the camera. And then I just need to move things closer to me. One more thing I got to do. There we go. We want everything to be going the right way. Okay. Okay, that looks good. All right, so this was the seasonal sale I was telling you about. The next big thing that Stampin' Up! Is going to have going on is December 1st is the retirement list is out for the July to December mini catalog. So on December 1st, there will be a last chance sale, which will be on Stampin' Up's website. And so you'll get a chance to, some of the last chance products are up to 50% off. So you will be able to start shopping for that December 1st. And those items are while supplies last. So that's the next big thing coming up. So let me show you. Oh, Joanne got her card kit and the PDF. Good, good. Michaeline, good morning. Okay, great. So let me show you the inspiration. And Vesta had made this card. I got it in the mail, and I've never made one before. But this is what they call the teepee card. I have never made one before. I was so intrigued by her card that I studied it so that I could demonstrate to you how to make this card. Now, some of you I know probably have already made this card, and there's different ways to do it. I looked for a tutorial that really resembled the process that Vesta's card, how it was done, and I really liked it. The one thing that I did look for differently was I don't have any of the Velcro dots. So I watched a tutorial by Gemma Clark. She is also known as the Inspired Stamper from the UK. And we're actually going to make a tab that will slip in to the fold of our teepee card to keep it together. Only because I didn't have the Velcro dots to do so. And you can see that you got 3 sides that you can decorate. So this fun fold, and this card here was the inspiration for today's project. But we have to throw a quilt spin on this, okay? So that's where your patchwork blocks come in. And I'll show you what my card ended up looking like. So this is the teepee card that I had done. And look at your patchwork on all sides. Now the thing that we're going to do is we're going to use all of our panels. So when you open it up, you have this beautiful patchwork design. And here's that tab I was telling you about, that when we go to put it together, it's going to tuck right into that fold there, like this, and lock. So this is what we're going to do today. This is a chop it block, but we're going to keep it very simple. So Vesta loves it. Okay, I'm looking at comments. Oh my goodness, they're happening so fast I can't read them. Okay, so this is going to be fun. And there's even some heart scrolling. So I'm very pleased. I will have some tips for you, though. If you have any punched or die cut images that are bigger, that fall outside of the teepee, you're going to want to pay attention to where you put those on. And I will show you that as we start putting it together. Because the first one I didn't pay attention to what side this should have gone on. And it won't fit in an envelope because of where this die falls. But we'll get to that. As long as everything stays within your triangle, you're going to be good. I'm just going to give you some tips is for the things that fall outside of your teepee. The other reason why I loved this fun fold for today, like in the one that I goofed on, doesn't it look like a tree? It just reminded me of a pine tree with its shape. And being I am going to be using mossy meadow, so I wanted to really number one, yes, it's a teepee card, but it reminds me of a pine tree, and that's why I went with pulling out Christmas papers. Now, you can make this with any paper that you have. I would love to see other papers used and maybe other occasions. This is one of my favorite folds right now. I know I'm going to be making more teepee cards. I love how they stand. So this, for someone who is displaying their Christmas cards or any card, birthday card, if they are displaying their cards, handmade cards on a mantle or anything, a shelf, this is going to sit really nice. It's not going to blow over or fall over very easily. The layers help give it some body and I'm going to say some heft, but unless you put a lot of bling and stuff on this, it should still go through the mail okay with not without extra postage. That's going to depend on how much you trick this card out, okay? So, isn't it so cute? And the buffalo plaid ribbon, I just thought was like, that just added that country farmhouse vibe that I love so much. I just thought that really tied in with, this is Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper that's in the mini catalog. And my sentiment comes from the Perfectly Plaid stamp set. And then I used the coordinating punch, the tree punch that goes with that. So that's what I used in case you're wondering. So let's get things out of the way. And let's get to building our teepee card. Okay, so I am going to bring in the pieces that we're going to be using. Here I had stamped my Christmas tree that we will punch out. I've got my sentiment. I've got my 2 patchwork squares. Your pattern was for 4 inches, and then we trimmed them down to 3 3/4 inches because 4 inches was a lot easier to do the math into knowing what the patchwork pieces would be. So even if you trimmed it down and they're not even, it's okay. We're chopping this up. Nobody is going to be the wiser to if it's perfectly matched as far as the size of your pieces here. So don't get hung up on that, okay? Then we had some optional pieces that I realized after I had posted the first picture that I needed to give you. So we got those, and then we have our 4-inch square, and we have our 4.5 by 8-inch piece of cardstock. So I'm going to move some things out of the way because I need to bring my trimmer in. We're going to do some scoring and a little bit of cutting. I just need to make room in this tiny space to bring out my trimmer. And I want to make sure that I can get this in view for you and you can see. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. Okay, I still need to make some room. Hold on. Just never enough room to spread out. Okay, so let's bring in that 4.5 by 8-inch piece of cardstock. What we're going to do is we're going to turn it portrait, the portrait orientation, okay, so that your 4.5 is at the top. And I am going to be using the right side of my trimmer. I'm going to be using the grid here. And I'm going to move this over to a 1/2 inch. And get your cutting blade out of the way because you don't need that right now. And what I'm going to do is I am going to score a 1/2 inch along the right side. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it landscape mode, and I am going to move my cardstock all the way over to the outside, just to the edge of my white grid here on my trimmer. And that's about 1.5 inches, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my scoring blade in, but I want to score only to the 1/2 inch score line that we did previously. So I'm just going to bring that down, and I'm going to use this little indentation on my scoring blade on the side here. That's where the blade or the scoring part rests, and I'm just going to line that up. I'm going to stop where I believe it's right there at that score line. I may have to stand up to do this, otherwise you're going to see my head. Okay. So if you can see this, let me see if I can tilt that. Well, it's going to be kind of hard to see, especially on Mossy Meadow, but right there is like my score line, and it comes right to where these two are, okay? So now what I want to do is, this is going to be the tab that's going to lock our TP card. We don't need this here, so I'm just going to put this back on my trimmer and put it back on a 1/2 inch. And I am going to use my cutting blade, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to stop right where the tab starts. Okay, and it just so happens that if you're using the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, that where your tab starts, it's this horizontal line right here. So when you're bringing your cutting blade down, you can stop right there. Okay. And then we're just going to go in with our snips, and we're going to take it off here. Okay, so we're just going to put that to the side. And then what I want to do is I want to just come in and take a little sliver on a slant on both ends, just to help it go in and lock and take off some bulk. Okay, so see how this is on like a little bit of a slant on both sides? Okay. And putting it back into, we're going to do some more scoring now, so get that cutting blade out of the way. And I am going to score this at 4 inches. So line up the left side of your cardstock at 4 inches. Keep that cutting blade out of the way and score. So now you're scored at 4 inches. To make our diagonal fold, we're going to rotate it. You're going to have your point down here to where it lays in the track. Okay. And you're going to find that score line that you just made, and you're going to put the end of that in your track, and you're going to score. And then you're just going to turn it around, and you're going to do the same thing to the other side. Find your score lines up here, put that intersection in the track, and put this corner of your cardstock in your track. Remember, don't use your cutting blade. You want your scoring. And I'll show you what it looks like. I did one of these as a template, so that this is where our scoring lines all were. That's what you should have. Okay, I know it's really hard to see on the darker cardstock. So these are your scoring lines. So let's put that to the side. Let's bring in that 4-inch square. We're going to put our points, this point down into the cutting, or the track, cutting or scoring track. The other point goes up there. And then with your scoring blade, you are going to score that piece. And just so that you can see it better, this is what it should look like when you've got it scored. Okay. I'm watching my video and I'm just a little behind watching from what I see that I'm doing, but okay, so those two pieces were just a template. So now we have the bases that we need for the teepee. While we've got our trimmer out, let's go ahead and let's bring in your patchwork squares. And again, we're going to cut these on the diagonal. What I am going to do, just so that my patchwork triangles aren't exactly the same, I'm going to cut one of them on the diagonal, starting with the lighter pieces of cardstock or designer series paper. And then the next one, I'm going to put the red pieces of designer series paper in the track. It just gives your patchwork not all falling in the same, it just kind of mixes it up a little bit. Now I don't want to start cutting with my cutting blade right on the corner because that can scrunch up your paper. So I'm just going to start in a little bit, go down, and then go back up. That way I'm not bunching up my corners here with the blade. So the other one I'm going to bring in, and I'm going to put the red designer series paper so that they fall in my track. Again, bring my cutting blade down. I want to start anywhere inside my block, but I don't want to start on the point. And there we have those two pieces. Now for our alternate or our optional pieces, I would like some place within this card to be able to write a note to who I'm sending the card to. So with this 3 3/4 inch square of basic white, I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to cut this on the diagonal. These will go inside the card so you have some room to write. The other piece, I had you do a 1 1/2 inch square. This should really be 1 3/8 inch. So I am just going to trim it down real quick. I'm just going to take 1/8 of an inch off two sides, because it really should be 1 3/8. I'm sorry for the error there. And then what we want to do is we want to cut this in half on the diagonal. And what these two little pieces will be for is on your teepee, you're going to have two areas that have no designer series paper. I think it looks fine even without. But this optional piece is going to fill in those two little triangles there. Okay? Totally optional. My inspiration didn't have those. You could decorate that area with a sticker or a die cut piece. But if you're wanting your patchwork to go all the way to the end of your card, then you're going to need these two little pieces. Okay, so here we have those, and we can set those aside. So we've got all of our components ready to go. And so now what we can do is we can start putting this together. The one thing I recommend is using a liquid glue. And the reason why I recommend that is because when we layer this piece onto here and need to be able to fold it and move it a little bit, your glue is going to help slide your cardstock kind of into place. So I really recommend that. This is only the third one I've made, so I'm still getting used to it. But the liquid glue works really well, and you don't want to be skimpy with your glue because you want it to have that movement to help you slide it around, but you don't want a lot of glue to where it will come out the edges, outside of the edges of your cardstock, okay? So let's do some burnishing. So on our score lines, let's just give everything a good burnish. I like to burnish both sides. So when I'm done doing this side, I'm gonna flip them and burnish the other side too. So I'm just gonna go the opposite way. This will just help all the folds move really well. And I just remembered there's one more little piece that we have to cut. We have to make the slot for your tab to go in. So let's just finish burnishing our cardstock. And then we're going to go back in. Now, another thing watching Gemma is that she had a utility knife, which I do not have. I need to add one to my craft room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my trimmer to do it. So what we need to do is you need to fold your card into the teepee and then hold it like this. Okay, your tab should be up here at the top. And with a pencil, I want to draw a line, and I want to draw it long enough with a pencil that I can see where I need to stop with my trimmer. What I'm doing is I'm taking into consideration that I have the door or the lid to the trimmer, and that's going to take up some room. So I just want to know where to start and stop. These lines can be erased. So can you see what I did there? I just drew a line down from both sides of my tab there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my trimmer back in, and here, if you had a utility knife, you could cut from one point to the next, but I don't have that. So what I'm going to do is I can see, I'm going to have to stand up actually. I can see my pencil line, so I know where to start and where to stop. Again, this indentation on the cutting blade lets me know that my blade is sitting right here in the middle. So I'm going to line that indentation up with the line that I drew, and I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to stop where the blade would be with this other line. Like that. So here we have our little slit for our tab, so that when you bring it around like this, it fits in and locks like that. Okay? It'll just slide right in there. I'm going to erase these lines. We're going to cover them up also, but I'm going to go ahead and erase them. Now, if you notice that your TP is bowing out because this flap here doesn't want to lay flush, then you might have to take just a little bit off. So if you open your TP again, the side that you want to trim is not this side with the tab, but right along here, you may want to just take just take a little bit off up until where all the score lines intersect, and that will help it lay flat. And sometimes you can help it lay flat just by burnishing on the inside and helping everything lay down too. You can just put your bone folder in there and help everything lay down. Okay, so that's the beginning of our card. Now we have to create the other side, or the other point to your teepee. So I work with my tab over on the right side. And you've got this mountain fold. You're going to want your mountain fold with your this 4-inch square. And we're going to line that fold up. Might have to flip it over. Just make sure your lines that they're nesting inside of each other. And I am going to put glue down on the back side of this piece here, but I'm only going to go down to where my corners are. Okay, I don't want to risk glue getting out beyond here. So I am just going to hold it. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put liquid glue from across here and down. As soon as I can find my glue. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. So here's where you kind of have to work a little quickly. Where is my silicone mat? Okay. So I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to get it to where it's lining up, that it's folding. I want it to be able to fold both ways. So if I can fold it both ways like that, then I am going to press it down the rest of the way. You just want it to be able to work itself in place. I like to work it both directions. So it should look like this. I want to make sure I don't have any glue coming out where it's not supposed to be. And so your teepee card should now look like this. Okay. So now, when I fold in all of my sides, slide my tab in, you have your 3 sides to your teepee card. And now here, what you can do, if you want to go back in and put a little bit of glue, if you notice that you didn't come down far enough, you could go in and put a little bit more glue in to help hold like these little corners down. So I'm just going to put a little bit of more glue right there and hope I don't squish it out from underneath. Just hold it for a second. And I'm going to make sure my other side is down pretty good. That one I'm happy with, but this one needed a little bit more. Okay. So the base of your card is done. Yay! Give yourself a hand. If you're like me, this was a little challenging. I've never done this card before until 2 nights ago. So I do better under pressure. So anyway, now we're going to get to decorating our card. So bring in your patchwork pieces, and you're going to glue these down within the triangle. So you're going to have a little bit of a border that frames your 2 patchwork pieces. You can mix these up if you want, because you still have the same green center, or whatever your center is. I could mix these up and go like that. And then do something like put this one here. And really, you're gonna lose the pattern, so to speak, when you fold all those panels in. So lay it out however you want. Make sure you like it. Here's where I would tuck in those little tiny triangles. That way I am covering my whole card with patchwork. Okay, once you're happy with your placement, then you can just start gluing your pieces down. Your patchwork design looks like, to whoever you're sending it to, is going to look like, oh my goodness, look at all the time she spent cutting all these little tiny pieces out. But what we did is we just made a block and chopped it up then. And I wanted to go back to teaching a chop it block because there's a lot of new followers, and they had someone had seen, I can't remember who did the disappearing 9-patch card here recently on YouTube, and I was asked about it, and we did something similar to that way back in the day when I first started doing lives. And so I thought, you know what, there's a lot of new followers, a lot of followers who aren't quilters, so to speak, with sewing, but making quilt cards, they can, they find easy and love doing because, first of all, they already have an appreciation for the quilting process. So they're quilters, just in a different medium. So I wanted to do an easy chop it for the beginners. And when I got the teepee card from Vesta, I was so intrigued by it. I studied it, and I thought, you know what? That lends itself to the chop it process really well, because I knew I was going to do a chop it patchwork. The next decision is, well, what's the layout going to be? What kind of, is it going to be just your standard card? Do I find a fun fold that works with a square? The answer was sitting right in front of me, and it was Vesta's teepee card. So then I was off to the races. And I cannot wait to see what your cards are going to look like, whether you stuck with a holiday theme or did you pull out, designer series papers that have a whole different feel to them. I picture this card all done in embossed white for a wedding card. And not necessarily a patchwork, but take my triangles, find a beautiful embossing folder, and doing it all in white or whatever their wedding colors are, and decorating it with maybe some of the metallic cardstocks, some die cut ephemera pieces or something, and I think it would make a beautiful wedding card. I think this layout is perfect for all occasions: sympathy, birthdays, baby cards. And it's really not as difficult as I thought it was going to be to do. So look at that beautiful patchwork design you have created. I hope you are all very proud of yourselves. Now, let's flip it over and let's put our white pieces in. And this is totally optional, but you're going to want an area to write something or continue stamping another greeting to your card. So I think, while this is optional, I recommend it. So just fit that inside of the triangle your score lines have made. Putting a nice little border around there. And then all that's left is decorating the outside. And you can get as elaborate or as simple as you want. As always with card making, just remember that, oh, I was off on this a little bit. The more you put on it, then your postage can increase. Okay, so now we can put this together. And if you don't want to make the little lock here, then use the Velcro circles. But if you're like me and you didn't have those in your crafting supplies, then that little tab helps lock it all in place. And now all that we're left with doing is decorating it. Hi, Della. Good morning. Hi, Doris. Thank you for sharing. Hi, Kathy. Della, thank you for sharing. Yes, Vesta, doesn't the white emboss? Wouldn't that be so elegant? Just so elegant. Oh, no, Pat. Your internet's going in and out. Okay. Catch the replay. Hi, Janice. Good morning. Okay, so here's what I learned about where to place your decoration, so to speak, so that it all fits into the envelope. If you unfold your card, this is what's going to fit into the envelope. Okay? So depending what side you decide is going to be the side that you want to decorate, and maybe you're decorating all four. If you keep everything within the triangle, you are not going to have any problems. But my sentiment expands beyond the triangle. So I need to make sure that when I open this up to put it inside the envelope, that it's going to fall on a pan that's going to stay inside the square. I wouldn't want to put it to where it expands off of this side of my card, because it's not all going to fit in the envelope. So pay attention. Even if you have to put something on your card to remember that if you're using this panel here, you want the what falls outside of your triangle to be to the right. You're just going to have to figure that part out. But open up your card, lay it like this, and make sure that anything that is bigger than the triangle is what is outside of the triangle falls within this square right here, so that it goes into the envelope. Does that make sense? I hope I explained it well enough. Michaeline, thank you for sharing. Hi, Kathy. How's everything up there in Canada? Hi, Mary. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and make this triangle here where my sentiment is going to fall. So I know that I'm going to want to glue this down just on this side, and I don't want it going beyond this edge. So I'm just going to kind of put it back together, so to speak. And I am going to decide how far up I want this, because what I'm going to bring in, oh, that's something else I got to show you that I'm going to do. I'm going to add a little tree that I stamped from the Perfectly Plaid stamp set that coordinated with this punch. You used to be able to get it as a bundle last year, but now they're separately. But I am just going to go ahead and I am going to punch this little tree out. And by the way, this stamp that I chose to do this tree reminds me of red work in embroidery. Another element that I want to add, that I wanted to add to my patchwork. Oh, imagine if you did this all in red and whites and did like a mock red work quilt theme on your card. Oh my goodness, would that not be just like adorable? Because this is what it would look like on white. So that looks exactly like red work. But what I was wanting to say first was, I have seen this image stamped on a dark piece of cardstock, and then they heat embossed it with the white embossing powder. And this pattern is absolutely gorgeous on dark cardstock. If you heat set it, if you do it with the white embossing powder, oh my goodness, is it not gorgeous? But here, I just wanted to tie in some like a red work element to my card. Okay, so if I bring this back in, and I'm just going to fold this up just so that I can get the feel for it. So I know my square falls where this tab is, so if it hangs over anywhere, it needs to hang over towards the tab. So if I put that there, and I'm going to pop up my Christmas tree right along the edge of my card. I don't want it to hide the C for Christmas. So right about there, I got this little tiny triangle of green I'm going to go by. And I'm only going to put glue on the back of the left side because this is going to hang out over the edge. You don't want glue on it. Well, come on, glue. There we go. That's enough. Fold it. Take it over to the edge. Just kind of make sure it's straight. If it falls outside the edge a little bit, your envelope gives you that wiggle room. You just don't want it going out a lot. Okay, so there is my sentiment. I'm going to pop my tree up with a couple dimensionals. What did I do with them? I had to move everything because I was running out of space. And make sure that I'm in camera. Something was catching here. I just want to get that up there on the card, but I don't totally want to cover up the C to Christmas. And I'm just going to put that down like that. So there's my little tree. And now what I also want to add is I want to do a bow with the buffalo check ribbon, and then I'm going to put some holiday rhinestones on there, some on my tree, some on there, and then I am going to call it done. But you could go ahead and you can decorate every side to your card. You can do as much of this or as little as you want. So this ribbon, if you haven't gotten it yet, it's in the mini catalog. It is just so adorable for the holidays. And if you didn't know, you can take your alcohol, your blends and your markers, and you can color the ribbon. So I am just going to make my bow and then just work with how big I want my loops to be. I think I'm going to go a little bit smaller. And if you didn't want to use ribbon, maybe you have the bow punch that was from last year. I love that stamp set and the punch that you could do a paper bow. You could use some of the twine, the baker's twine for your bow. But I just love this buffalo plaid here. Okay, I'm just going to cut my tails. And you'll find this ribbon in with the Halloween stamp sets in the mini catalog. I made sure I stocked up on this ribbon because, number one, I can color it to make it match the colors that that's going on in my cards, but I love it by itself. And so with a glue dot, I'm going to put my bow on. Oh, I can feel them with my fingers. There we go. You know what? I want to fold it up and make sure that I get it on the angle that I want it. There we go. Isn't that adorable? Oh, I'm just so happy with this. And bringing in the holiday rhinestones. I could make my tree have multicolor rhinestones on it to give it the look of Christmas bulbs. I could just stick with the red. You can do it however you want. I think I'm going to stick with red, though. And let's just put one there. Maybe one down here. I'm going to stick with the odd numbers, and I'm going to use 5. I'm going to put 3 on my tree, and then I'm just going to put 2 on my greeting here. So let's say like that. So when I fold it all up and I put my tab in, I'm catching on something. Oh, I know what I'm catching on. I'm catching on my white piece of paper on the inside. So when I'm all done, that's what my Christmas card looks like. Isn't it so cute? I am so happy with this. Vesta, thank you so much. You just never know when you're going to be the inspiration of something. And so thank you so much for the card that you had made. It's totally going to inspire everybody on here to want to make this card if they never have before. So I'm going to check some comments here. Oh, Tony did hers in purple. You know we all want to see that. And you use the hand pen. Oh, we cannot wait to see that. Oh my goodness. Okay, Kathy, yeah, just go back through and watch the replay. You know, I always thought that this card looked so complicated, but actually it isn't. And there are different ways to do the card base. I did watch some tutorials where instead of that 4.5 by 8-inch piece, they used a total of 3 4-inch squares and did their scoring and then glued them on. And you probably could still do that, and with a scrap make a tab that you can glue to one of the ends. But when I was studying the card that Vesta sent me, I liked that there was one long piece and all I had to do was, layer the one. And plus, when I saw that you could actually make a tab to lock in case you don't have any other closures of any kind. That is the direction that I went to show you how to make this card. And it is the same layout or the same process as the card that I got from Vesta. So, but is this not so cute? I really don't want to decorate all my sides because look at the patchwork that is going on here. And I'm telling you, somebody's going to look at this and say, look, she cut out all of these little half square triangles, and here you've got an angle cut on this longer piece, and no, you made one block. You chopped it up, and you glued it back down. I think you're going to love it. I cannot wait to see your cards. Please post them over in the group called Quilt Cards and More. If you haven't joined, all you got to do is request, and I hit accept, and you're in our little community, a great community of sharing and inspiring each other. I cannot wait to see your cards. And what I will do is next Thursday, next Thursday, that's Thanksgiving. I might have to move my live because we're going to be out of town for Thanksgiving. I'll have to get back to you on that because I don't know if we're going to be out of town Thursday night and Friday or Wednesday and I'll have to get back to you on when my live is. But let's say as of Wednesday night, I'll go back through everybody who shared a card and I'll draw a name and I will send them the Christmas patchwork card. Okay, so you have a lot of time to get busy, and I can't wait to see what other papers, just the look that these cards will get. But back to why I thought this looked like a pine tree. Can you see with the mossy meadow? Doesn't it look like a pine tree? Looks like a Christmas pine tree. I love it. And I hope you love it too. So I won't keep you. We came in at a good time. Remember the seasonal sale ends tonight, Mountain Time. You've got plenty of time if you still have things that you want to stock up on and take advantage of the savings. And that's all I got for everybody. So thank you for spending your Thursday morning with me. And I look forward to seeing all of your TP cards. And I'm going to let you go for the day. So have a good weekend. Have a good rest of your day, your week. And I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.